There's no way that 50 people wanted me to do this. Anyway, hello. You don't know me, I'm sure. My name's Perry Brown. I'm just another regular Twitter X idiot. A friend of mine said if this post gets 50 likes, then I'll get Perry to read Overtake My Heart by Anita Driver. It's terrible, like really bad. So thank you very much for that, Octane Gamer. I'm going to read a section of this book. It's called The First Date, and it's not a big book, as you can see. The chapters are quite short, but this is probably the longest, and it's probably got the most actual content. So anyway, I can only apologise. Chapter 3, The First Date. At 8 o'clock sharp, Daniel arrived to pick up Emily for their date. Seeing him standing there, looking casually handsome in a pair of dark jeans and a button-down shirt, Emily's heart fluttered with anticipation. His neck glistened in the evening air. His warm smile set her at ease, and they set off for the Outback Steakhouse. The restaurant was lively with chatter and the comforting aroma of grilled steak. They were seated at a quiet corner booth where they had the perfect balance of privacy and a view of the bustling eatery. The night kicked off with laughter as Daniel insisted Emily try the bloomin' onion, a classic Australian starter. It's not an authentic Aussie experience without it. Sorry, that was terrible, he said, his eyes gleaming with mischief. Emily played along, and they both laughed as she took an exaggeratedly cautious bite, only to proclaim it delicious. The laughter set the tone for the rest of the evening. They shared stories about their favourite races, debated over the best drivers of all time, and swapped anecdotes from their lives. Emily found herself opening up to Daniel in a way she rarely did with others. There was something about him that made her feel comfortable, seen, and appreciated. Their conversation flowed as smoothly as an Adrian Newey designed car in the wind tunnel, moving from racing to more personal topics. Emily learned about Daniel's childhood in Australia, the various pet kangaroos he had owned, his journey into racing, and his dreams for the future. In return, she shared her own story, her passion for the sport, and her aspirations. Throughout the night, their chemistry was undeniable. They found themselves lost in deep conversation, their mutual passion for racing serving as the initial spark that had ignited into something more personal, more intimate. As the evening wore on, Emily realised how much she was enjoying Daniel's company, his charm, his wit, his genuine interest in her stories. All these things made her feel a connection she hadn't anticipated. It was as if they had known each other for years rather than just a few hours. The night ended with Daniel walking Emily to her car. The air between them electric with shared laughter and unspoken connection. As she drove home, Emily found herself replaying the night in her head, the smile on her face, a testament to the wonderful time she had spent with Daniel Ricciardo. It had been an unforgettable day, and she could only hope it was the first of many more to come. Back within the comfort of her own home, Emily replayed the events of the night, her mind a whirlwind of thoughts. She had had an amazing time with Daniel. There was no denying that. His charm, his humour, his authenticity, all of it had drawn her in. Yet amidst the fluttering excitement, a nagging doubt began to creep in. She couldn't help but remember the story she'd heard about Daniel Ricciardo, the playboy. His charm had won over countless women before her, and his reputation for fleeting romances was as well known as his racing prowess. Just how many women had put their hands on his boomerang? Could someone like him, who was used to the glamorous and transient lifestyle of a Formula One driver, truly be interested in someone like her? She was just an ordinary woman who happened to love the same sport he did. Was their connection real, or was she just another pit stop in his fast-paced life? She paced her living room, wrestling with her feelings. On one hand, she was thrilled about the feelings. On one hand, she was thrilled about the fantastic time they had shared, the undeniable connection they had established. She had been attracted to Daniel for a long time, but their shared passion for racing and their deep conversations had ignited a flame that was different from her previous admiration. On the other hand, she was afraid of getting hurt. She didn't want to be another name on his list, another woman charmed and then forgotten. She valued herself too much to let that happen. Emily sat down on her couch, her mind racing. She was falling for Daniel Ricciardo. There was no doubt about that. But could she trust him? Could she trust his intentions, his words, his actions? The question spun in her head like Nikita Mazepin on a wet track, or a dry track. She knew she had to tread carefully, for her heart was at stake. And yet, the thrill of what could be was too enticing to resist. She was at a crossroads, and she had to decide which way to steer. The following days were filled with an internal tug of war. Emily found herself daydreaming about Daniel, about their conversation, his laugh, the way he looked at her. Her heart yearned for more, yet her mind kept reeling her back, reminding her of the possible heartache that could come with falling for a man like Daniel. The next evening, while caught up in her thoughts, her phone buzzed. It was a text from Daniel. He had just finished a neck workout with his trainer and was inviting her over to his hotel for a nightcap. Her heart fluttered at the invitation, and she found herself typing a response before her mind could interfere. She dressed up in a casual but chic outfit and headed to the hotel. Seeing Daniel again, his warm smile welcoming her, all her doubts seemed to melt away. They spent the evening talking, laughing and sipping on their drinks, the chemistry between them as palpable as ever. As the evening grew late, Emily decided it was time to head home. She said her goodbyes to Daniel, ignoring the disappointment flashing in his eyes. As she walked towards her car, her heart felt heavy. She was leaving behind a man who she was deeply attracted to, a man she connected with on so many levels, all because of fear. Halfway to her car, she stopped. She looked back at the hotel, its lights glowing in the night. An internal battle raged within her. She was afraid of getting hurt, yes, but she was also afraid of letting something go that could be truly special. With a deep breath, she turned around. She walked back into the hotel and took the elevator up to Daniel's floor. Standing in front of his door, she felt a mix of fear and anticipation. Without knocking, she opened the door to Daniel's room. "Not now, Max. I'm not in the mood tonight," said Daniel before looking up from his phone. "Oh, Emily, is everything all right?" he said, realising his mistake. "Yes," she said, her voice steady. "I just realised I wasn't ready for the night to end." Daniel offered Emily a glass of Rick-free Shiraz from St. Hugo, but she politely declined, her gaze locked with his. There was an unspoken understanding between them, a shared desire that neither of them could ignore any longer. Slowly, Daniel closed the distance between them. His hand had gently brushed against her cheek, causing her to close her eyes to the tender touch. "Emily," he whispered, his voice filled with a mix of desire and admiration. When she opened her eyes, she saw the same emotions reflected back in his. She reached up, touched his face, tracing the lines of his stubble, his jaws, his lips, his neck. The anticipation was like the revving of engines, the countdown before the lights go out and the race begins. Their lips met in a slow, explorative kiss. It was as if they were taking their time, savouring the moment, just as one would savour the adrenaline rush of a race. Daniel's hands found their way to Emily's waist, pulling her closer, deepening the kiss. They moved instinctively, a dance as synchronised as a pit stop, each action leading seamlessly to the next. Their clothes were shed, left in a trail leading to the bedroom, their bodies entwined. lost in the exploration of each other, every touch igniting sparks of pleasure. The world outside ceased to exist. All that mattered was the here and now, the shared intimacy, the connection that transcended their physical closeness. Emily found herself lost in Daniel, his touch, his scent, his taste, and she felt him respond with equal passion. His actions speaking volumes about his desire for her. She loved the way his body felt on top of hers. It felt like the downforce of 1,000 rear wings, all at once. The night was filled with whispered words, tender touches, and passionate exchanges. It was a night where they crossed the line from friends to lovers, a night where Emily let go of her fears and surrendered to her feelings for Daniel. As the first light of dawn seeped into the room, Emily lay in Daniel's arms, their bodies tangled in the sheets, his warm body draped over her like a tire blanket. She looked up at him, his face relaxed in sleep, his chest rising and falling rhythmically. She had never seen him so peaceful, so vulnerable. It was a side of him she had never expected to see, and it made her fall for him even more. As she closed her eyes, nestled against him, Emily knew she had made the right decision. She had taken a leap of faith, and it had led to a night she would always remember. She fell asleep with a content sigh, her heart beating in sync with Daniel's, hopeful for what the future might bring. So, yes, that was chapter 3, and as I said, it was probably one of the longest in there. So you're probably not watching by now, either asleep or just switched off and doing something else. If you are still watching, you are truly weird, and also thank you. At least you didn't want to hear the next on it. So they want to hear the next on it, don't they? Yes, yeah. So again, for anyone that's not seen this book, it's quite weird. At the end of each chapter, there's like sonnets and different links, I guess, to what's going on and different notes by the author. And this one has a next sonnet. So brace yourself. God. Upon Daniel's form, a structure grand, a neck of might sculpted by skilled hand, muscles that flex in the soft candlelight, a testament to his strength, power, and might. No marble statue could match such a sight. In his presence the stars seem less bright. Like a column of marble, robust and refined, it speaks of a character steady, inclined. His tenderness masked in sinew so old, a story of manliness waiting to be told. Yet beneath the steel a softness resides. In Daniel's strong neck, gentle heart abides. A vision of strength, a paragon of grace. His muscular neck, the most handsome place. Yeah. Thank God that's over. Okay. Thank you. And I will not be reading the rest of that book. Thank you. Bye-bye.